You've seen the headlines, right? All over the world, there's this growing panic about kids and screen time. We all feel it. But while some places are slamming on the brakes, retreating from tech altogether, there's this really ambitious initiative in New York City that's taking a totally different path. So let's dive into this surprising story.
So here's what we're going to break down. First, what's the digital wake-up call that's got some places totally unplugging? Then we'll get into the NYC alternative and its 3 core pillars. And finally, we'll see why this is so much more than just a new way to teach, why it's actually a fight for social justice.
Okay, so first, let's head over to Denmark. For years, they were the poster child for a digital-first future. But after about a decade of just letting kids dive into screens without much guidance, they've done a complete 180. So, what on earth happened?
What happened was the data. The numbers came in, and they were staggering. Danish teens were spending an average of 5.5 hours a day on their phones, and not for schoolwork, but just scrolling. A national commission directly tied this number to a serious decline in mental health, inattention, and focus. That number just became impossible to ignore.
And it's not just about the numbers. This quote from a youth advisor, Mila Valmod, it just hits so hard. This isn't just about one kid feeling anxious. It's about how our social fabric is changing. She observed that just having a phone in the room could literally drain the life out of a social gathering, creating these little bubbles of isolation.
So Denmark's response? It's been swift and honestly pretty drastic. They're calling it digital sobriety. Phones are literally banned and locked away in boxes during school. Physical textbooks are making a comeback after a decade, and there's a real political push to ban major social media for anyone under 15. It's a full-on retreat. But is that the only way to handle this?
But what if hitting reverse isn't the only option? Over in New York City, a whole different idea is taking shape. The thinking here is not about banning tech, but about fundamentally changing our relationship to it. They see this moment as a time for a major course correction, leading towards something they call digital fluency.
And this slide, it just lays it all out perfectly, right? You've got 2 completely different philosophies. On one side, digital sobriety, which is all about restriction. On the other, digital fluency, focused on empowerment. The people behind NYC's Bridging Tomorrow initiative say the real digital divide isn't about who has a device anymore. It's about who has the skills to use these incredibly powerful new AI tools to create and build.
This is the big idea, the huge shift in thinking they're pushing. For so long, we've all worried about tech becoming this hypnotic babysitter, just turning kids into passive consumers. The NYC model, which is powered by the iGentixAI curriculum from iVirtue, wants to flip that on its head and turn that same device into a cognitive exoskeleton, a tool that actually helps our own brains work better. Okay, cognitive exoskeleton sounds a little sci-fi, right? So what does it actually mean? Well, it's a tool that doesn't think for you. It's more like a partner. It helps you brainstorm. It helps you push your ideas further. The kid is always in the driver's seat, using AI to explore and solve problems, not just to cheat and get answers. It's all about mindful, purposeful use of this technology. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Pillar number 1. This is all about going way beyond just basic digital literacy. It's not enough to know how to use AI anymore. The goal now is to teach students how to audit it, how to question it, and how to spot its weaknesses. It's like a whole new kind of visual literacy for this crazy new world we live in. And at the core of this is this really cool idea called non-fungible knowledge. Think about it. An AI-generated image of a cat is fungible. You can swap it for a million other AI cat pictures. But a real photo of your cat sitting in that specific sunbeam at that exact moment, that's non-fungible. It's a unique record of reality. In an age of deepfakes, teaching kids that distinction is absolutely crucial. So this isn't just theory. It translates into a real practical skill set. They're basically training these kids to become AI detectives. They learn to trace an image or a fact back to its source. Was it a camera? A real person? They learn to spot what they call the friction of reality. You know, the messy, imperfect details that AI often smooths over. They learn AI is a phenomenal synthesizer, but it's not a source of truth.
Okay, pillar number 2. This one tackles that other big fear we all have about screen time, that it just pulls us away from the real physical world. This part of the program is designed to prove the exact opposite, that high-tech skills can actually lead to a deeper, high-touch connection with the world around us.
So how do you bridge that gap between a kid staring at a screen and the actual living world right outside their window?
Well, they have a very direct and frankly beautiful answer. They take the students from pixels to pollinators, connecting the abstract digital world directly to a fragile ecosystem right in their own backyard. And this is where it all comes together. The Nature AI program. Students actually go to the Inwood Butterfly Sanctuary in New York City with a real mission to help save the endangered monarch butterfly. They use their AI skills for real-world conservation, mapping migration patterns, and identifying species. It's an amazing citizen science project where tech becomes a tool for taking care of our planet. And that brings us to the third and final pillar, which to me is maybe the most important. It's all about flipping the script on the student's role, from being a passive consumer of content to an active creator of solutions. One of the big tools they use, and get this, they're teaching this to fifth graders, is first principles thinking. So instead of just saying, hey, invent a new toy, they'll ask the kids to break it down. What is a toy? What is it for? Fun? Learning? By stripping a problem down to its core truths, they can build something completely new and innovative from scratch.
Then there's this other awesome technique called chain of thought prompting. It teaches kids how to get really rich, complex results from AI by layering simple questions. Instead of one big, vague prompt like write a story about Mars, they build it piece by piece. First, brainstorm 5 things an astronaut sees. Next, describe their feelings. Then create a problem for them to solve. It becomes a collaboration, and the end result is so much better.
So, look, this all sounds like an incredible way to teach kids, right? But for the people behind Bridging Tomorrow, this goes so much deeper. For them, at its very core, this is a mission for social justice.
In this quote, this says it all. There's a real fear that if this kind of high-level AI education only ends up in wealthy schools, that digital divide we've talked about for years is going to become an uncrossable canyon. It would mean the future literally belongs to a select few.
So this isn't just talk. They are taking real, concrete steps to prevent that. The Bridging Tomorrow initiative provides this curriculum for free, and they're focusing specifically on underserved communities in New York City. They're training parents, they're training teachers, they're building a whole support system. The goal is simple, but it's huge. Make sure the next generation of innovators looks like the city they actually come from.
So here we are, at this massive fork in the road. Denmark's model of digital sobriety is one path, a retreat. New York City's model of digital fluency is another, a really bold attempt to empower our kids to build a better future. And it forces every single one of us to ask a really important question. What does the future of learning look like where you live?